Check out the links in my description for more information, for more resources. Check out the podcast. Check out the Facebook groups. Just check out the links. There's a lot of great stuff there. Comment, rate, subscribe, share, like, dislike, whatever you want to do. This is my Pikahun Infinite Rejuvenation deck. 1 copy of the leader. 4 Oceania Shinron, 4 Shinron Figure Majesty, 4 Gohan Baby's Minion, 4 Pikahun Controlling Force, 4 Pikahun Glimpse of Might, 4 West Kai Impending Clash, 4 Goku Overflowing Spirit, 4 Kabuto Kai's Attendant, 4 Shell's Army Reinforcement, 4 Thunder Flash, 4 Super Pikahun True Mastery, 4 Rad's Giant Force, 4 Gotenks Absolute Unison, 4 Majin Buu Unison, and 4 Super Saiyan 4 Go Protect the Earth Unison. And for our Z deck, we have Pikahun Deathless Skill, we have Goku Awaken Slaughter, and we have Cell Awaken of the Creator. Just one of each, just as tech cards. Obviously, Cell Awaken of the Creator be like a staple. I'll probably obviously fill my my Z deck with probably multiple copies, but one will be enough. As a tech card. Of course, if we get more blue, cards. So always assume that all my decks, blue decks, have at least a Cell Awaken in the Z deck. Even if you don't see it in the deck profile, just assume that it's there. Because why not? Why not have it there as an option, right? Oops. All right. So Pikahun Auto, when this card attacks, look at up to 5 cards on the top of your deck and add up to 1 blue card with an energy cost of 1 among them to hand and shuffle. Your main targets for that is West Kai, Pikahun Glimpse of Might, and your Thunder Flash. So those are your 1-drop blue cards you can grab with this effect. And then the second auto, if you have, I don't do that part. His Awaken, when you have 4 less life, draw 2 cards. On his Awaken side, when he attacks, you draw a card. Second auto, once per turn, if it's your turn, when one of your energies switch to active mode by one of your blue card skills, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and return it to the owner's hand. I would like it if I could return my own battle card. That'd be busted. Active main, once per turn, draw 1 card, then place 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. So that's one way you can that's just that you once per turn filter out cards from your hand. Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, that's why I said I don't do anything other than draw. What's funny is you use the active main first, right? Draw a card, take a card from your hand, put it on top of the deck, swing with the leader, and draw that card again. So the irony of that. But the main thing is that we're going to use the leader's, front of auto, mainly to help us try to get Kai or Pikahun Glimpse of Might. So that way, because we need the Pikahun to synergize with our Super Pikahun True Mastery, because that's where our Infinite Rejuvenate comes from, essentially. Or just, endless or reusable or continuous, whatever you want to call it. And the idea is obviously we're going to be doing the cards +2 ability, so we can try to get to 6 markers, so we'll be able to remove 5 markers, because we ideally want to keep this on board. Remove 5 markers, take a card from under this card, which should be Pikahun Glimpse of Might, send it to a drop, and then take the top card of your deck and put it into your life. Life gain. So that's what we call it, rejuvenate. So the idea is to trigger that. So obviously we want to get this unison, drop it on turn 2, do the +2, so that's 4 markers. And on turn 3 we should be able to rejuvenate, right? Because we'll do the +2 again, so have 6 markers, right? Do Pikahun's ability, which can be done for free from your drop, because that's an active main, limit 1. You could choose your unison and attach and put this under it, so from your drop. So obviously you want to get this in your opening hand, you want to combo it to get it to the drop, so use it to defend yourself because you don't want to take damage. Turn 1, turn 2, the idea is to obviously keep your life high, and then use the Rejuvenate to keep increasing your life, right? Keep your life high. While, swing with your leader, swing with a unison, right? And whatnot to lower your opponent's life down. So this unison is your main workhorse. Everything else here is just added support depending on the situation. But this is your main workhorse. This is where the deck revolves around. Just abusing this ability. To get them, get the markers, add the card under it, and go from there. Sorry. Another way to, to try to get, more markers on it is to use a second copy or extra copies of it onto it to increase, its markers, and then, do the Rejuvenated cards go to, the drop. Then you use a Goku Overflowing Spirit to grab them from the drop and add it back to hand so that we can attach them to give markers. Plus, I guarantee there's a card on them. So you get the idea. There's synergies within having multiple copies of this. So you typically want to avoid charging any copies of this. All your unisons are more than welcome to be charged for energy, but your Pikahons, you kind of want to keep them because you want to have the synergy of using them to guarantee there's a card under the unison plus give a marker that we can get to the 6 marker range and then remove 5 and then rejuvenate and go from there. Spend a lot of time on this unison because talk about the unison because clearly it's the bread and butter of the deck. That's the whole idea. And we're going to use Kabuto Kai to help us recycle our Overflowing Spirit so we can negate an attack, ideally to protect our unison, and then use it to re-grab a unison from our drop, like let's say another copy of Pikahun, so we can keep the engine going. And the idea is just to always make sure there's a Pikahun in play doing its thing, taking up markers, trying to get to its rejuvenate form and then rejuvenate and just keep your life high that way. We have floodgates, negates like Baby Minion. We got Oceanus. This will help us protect the unison and as well as protect our leader, obviously. And we got the 2-drop Pikahun, which is searchable through the effect of West Kai. West Kai can also search out the unison, but it could also search out the 2-drop Pikahun and the 1-drop Pikahun. So he's in the deck because he helps us search out some of your other cards as well as our unison, which is our main thing. And getting multiple copies of unison, like I said, lets you do that synergy where you attach a unison to get a marker and go from there. So there's that. Like I said, Kabuto Kai, you're going to use it to bounce some of your stuff back, like your floodgate negates, your Overflowing Spirit, even bouncing back your West Kai, so you can use them to keep searching, like to keep searching out your Pikahun unisons and search out your Pikahun controlling force, for example, because it's a good negates an attack unless you bounce one of your opponent's battle cards to their hand. So that can potentially stop 2 attacks with 2 energy, so that's really useful defensively, especially like I said to protect our unison. Shenron Figure Majesty, draw engine, right? Draw a card, untap 2 energy, which is the main way we use the card, but it does have the potential to grab a 2 cost or less from our drop and play it. And of course, we got 1 drops and 2 drops in the deck that we can grab back from the drop, play it, and put into play. And of course, with Kabuto Kai, we can always bounce it back to hand so we can play them if need be. And so that's what we do with those cards. Chill's Army, obviously, indicate attack. Create a blocker token to defend with. When you have 5 or less life, you can take a life in order to play one of these for free. Thunder Flash. 1 energy blue negate. Flash should negate an attack, but it has an active main. We pay a blue to send this card from your drop to your warp in order to choose one of your blue Pikahun cards, and it gets a 5k power and double strike for the turn. As far as I know, it definitely should work on battle cards and it should work on leader, but I'm curious, would it work on the unison? But it probably doesn't. So there's that. We got Giant Force. He could block potentially twice a turn. He draws a card and restands at the end of your turn, so You can obviously attack with him and then try to block with him twice on your opponent's turn. Gotenks, dual attack blocker, so you can attack with it and restand it and use it as a shield, so sort of shield, so you can apply pressure but be able to defend yourself. Plus, being able to attack twice comes in handy in case you need an attack to go through, so this helps you punch through negates, especially blocker negates. And then -2 to draw 2, which is obviously always good to be able to draw a lot of cards real quick. -3, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle card, ignore barrier, and place them at the bottom of the opponent's deck. So that's some problem. That's anti-barrier hate right there. Boo, double strike, blocker, 20k. Active main, draw a card. At the start of your opponent's next turn, switch this card in. If your leader is mono blue, switch one of your blue energy to active mode. So the leader is blue, so we do get that effect. So we'll be able to draw a card, restand him, and untap an energy during our opponent's turn. So we always have one energy up at least to play a Thunder Flash, for example. Obviously, this combined with Shenron Figure Majesty gives us the ability to untap 3 of our energies every turn. So it'll be a lot like Super Saiyan 3 Goku or Pikahun. Not Pikahun, Gamma 1, Gamma 2 type of thing, Soul Striker type stuff. And of course, it's auto -1. When your opponent attacks with a battle card, choose one of their battle cards and place it at the bottom of the deck. So, since he's a blocker, he can block an attack and also use his auto to get rid of a problematic battle card, so he can potentially stop 2 attacks. Goku Adventure Begins. Auto, when you play this card, your opponent can't attack with battle cards unless they choose a battle card with cost 2 or higher from their battle area and place it at the bottom of the deck. So Floodgate ability, plus it has the -2 ability, choose all your opponent's battle card, ignore barrier, which is important, right, and return them to the hand. So it's our board wipe. It has the -1 ability where you can draw 2 cards and then take a card from your hand, put it at the bottom of your deck. So most of our unisons act as draw engine. This does have the Pikahun does have the +0 active main where you draw a card, then place up to 1 card from your hand under this card. So you don't have to place a card under it. You could place a card under it. So you could just do its +0 just to draw a card. So you could literally be in a scenario where it has 4 markers, right? Well, not 4 markers. You want it to ideally have 5 markers. Trying to think of something. Ideally, you want it to have obviously 5 markers. And then if you attach this, if you attach a copy of itself to it, then it'll have 6 markers. So you can use the ability to rejuvenate, but also use the active main, draw a card. So you have that option. That's what it is in case you're in a scenario where your opponent, knocks off a marker, and that's why you are at 5 markers, and then you had to do that to gain a marker, so you can be at 6, but still be able to. Then you draw and put a card under this, and then -5, you're like kind of synergy. So the Awaken, Deflect, Critical, auto. When this card is played, choose all of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 5 or less, and place them at the bottom. Place them under this card. So it's a pseudo board wipe. 5 cost or less. So obviously that's the main thing we do with it. It has other effects, but that's the main reason we have it, because it's just another board wipe. 5 or less. Doesn't ignore barrier, but hey, 5 or less can make a difference. And of course, it'll be useful in this deck with all our negating. We need to get, board wipe our opponent. So that's why I have multiple copies. Will definitely be beneficial in this deck. And that's the end of the video.